You said listen to the will of the people, but don't the polls show that most people support the ban on trans athletes in female sports? I have never even seen a fucking poll on such an irrelevant subject matter. You assume that most people feel that way. I have never seen a single poll on this matter. I would be shocked. I mean, shocked if that was even a thing. The strong opposition from overall is at 43%. Somewhat opposition is at 20% when it comes to do you support allowing transgender female students, athletes from competing on women's, girls, and sports teams. Now, the opinion that I have on this matter, or rather, the take I have on this matter, when it comes to when it comes down to the actual undemocratic actions that people could be taking, now that we've already established that the democratic opinion of the majority is completely inconsequential in what Republicans can get away with doing, considering that we're having a conversation about something that is broadly incredibly fucking popular, okay? Sometimes good leaders are supposed to go against the will of the majority, okay? For example, civil rights were deeply unpopular in a country that was built on the foundations of white supremacy. And yet, the legislative action was taken against that. Not allowing prayer in public schools originally was deeply unpopular, and yet the Supreme Court actually took action against that. Slavery was deeply popular, and yet that matter was handled. Slavery was so popular and so important to the consciousness and existence of so many Americans that they kind of went to war for it. I don't know if you remember that or not. So, of course, fundamentally, if we think about the actual process, yes, there is a difference between good things and bad things, okay? I personally believe in living and letting others live. So I do not give a fuck if the overwhelming majority is like, oh, the four trans athletes that are competing in fucking sports, yeah, no, they shouldn't be able to do so. I don't care. Majority, bad take. Is it only 4? Usually, in most states, it is a incredibly, incredibly minuscule, tiny number. So much so that if it wasn't trans people in any other marginalized community, you would recognize how fucking stupid this is. But because it's well established that everyone is transphobic now, because it's like the most appropriate way to be anti-LGBT, the most normative way to be anti-LGBT, without coming across like a truly violent bigot, unfortunately. It's something that people completely are on board with without even investigating the matter thoroughly on their own. And for the record, they have pushed a bill for one guy. They pushed a bill for one guy. Utah. Well, not one guy. One little girl in Utah. That was the reason why Utah fucking put a ban on trans athletes at the high school and collegiate level. One girl. So much so that Utah's very own right-wing governor was like, this is ridiculous. Like, we can't, what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm vetoing this bill. This is just morally abhorrent and a bill written exclusively with the express purpose of being cruel to a single fucking girl. That's it. How do you not realize that that is completely insane? So yes, sometimes the majority's opinions might be wrong. Sometimes the majority's opinion might be cruel. Republicans recognize that the system is supposed to be designed in a way that protects the minorities in that circumstance, and yet it never does. They love using that and claim that they care about abolishing the tyranny of the majority, right? Which is the democratic process, the democratic way, especially when it comes to things that the majority wants. So once again, I hate this conversation because immediately it goes down to, in all fairness, athletes have a likely unfair physical advantage. All athletes have some kind of unfair physical advantage over one another. The only difference is you just consider being trans to be somehow unique to that subject matter. That's it. Sports would not be sports or entertaining if everyone was literally the same. There are unfair advantages in every field. Fairness and unfairness is a concept that you have defined on your own. And you are saying being trans is unfair. You're not saying being Michael Phelps is unfair. You're not saying a wide wingspan is unfair. You're not saying being 6'8" and having the grace of a ballerina like LeBron James is unfair. That's fair. That's natural. It's fair. I believe in it. But that's the point of athleticism. That's the point of athletes. It's multifaceted. It's really complex. It is really difficult to figure out exactly what what makes someone the incredible athlete that they are. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because the conversation has now been effectively derailed away from the abortion rights that we were talking about. Okay, down to trans athletes competing at high school levels in high school sports. And that is an idiotic conversation to have. It is inconsequential. And the only reason why people are fucking pushing for these bills is purely for the sake of being cruel to trans people, because it hurts your feelings to know that there are people out there that exist in this way. Because you think it's weird. You think it's different. And I am even open-minded to understanding where that bigoted take comes from. I've talked about it many, many times over. I have so many fucking videos on this matter. You can watch a number of different times I've covered this. Like, I get it. Gender norms are super rigid. They're socially constructed, and they make up a fundamental part of your identity. So anything that like defies the antiquated ways we understand gender is going to, of course, force people to reckon with what they know or what they knew was wrong. And that is terrifying. That's a terrifying proposition. I think most of it is just pure sexism, assuming cis women are just straight worse than cis men at everything. That definitely factors into it, yes. The trans athlete conversation is so fucking dumb. You want to know why? Because every single person that had the conversation around trans athletes have already moved on, because they already won the dub there. So they've already moved on to like banning gender confirmation therapy. So what happened? For adults even. What happened? I thought this was a choice or a decision that they could make as adults, but now you don't even want that to happen for adults. Oh, turns out you just never wanted trans people to exist. That was it. You thought they were fucking weird, and we have completely moved on from the fucking trans athlete debate all the way to just restricting gender confirmation therapy, all the way to using the state legislatures to criminalize HRT. And we moved on from that so quick. You want to know why? Because that was always the main point. The main point of contention was trans people existing. It was never about integrity in sports. Just like Gamergate wasn't about fucking integrity in video game essaying, okay? It was never about like the integrity in video game journalism. Come on. You know better. You've lived through these periods if you're old enough. Look, the school board in Florida voted that if an LGBTQ child is in a PE class or attending an overnight trip, all parents in their class will receive a notification about it, which essentially paints these children as sex offenders that require warnings. You think that's a good bill? You think that's good? You think that's appropriate? Thank God for the Leon County School Board. And this is, of course, in fucking Florida, a state that also criminalized, basically, being gay and a teacher at the same time. If you're openly queer while educating people, they consider that to be grooming. They liken it to pedophilia, which is fucking psychotic. Yeah, I think that they should make them wear like honestly, if they're outing children as queer, one thing that they should probably also do is, because like you're never gonna really know, you can never really inform people. So what you should probably do is I don't know, put like a defining symbol on them, maybe like a pink triangle, maybe. You know what I mean? I think probably because like they, I'm just saying, like, you could probably put like a little pink triangle on their body to make sure that like everyone knows that this is a queer child, right? Like, and you can even give pink triangles to the queer teachers as well, just so that like everybody knows. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that that this person is queer. Stop giving them ideas, brother. You have to recognize what I'm saying, right? You have to recognize what I am talking about, right? You must have understood the joke that I'm making, which is not even a joke, but that's literally that what I'm referencing has been done already, in Nazi Germany. But hey, dude, no. Like, come on, bro. You're you're exaggerating, bro. You're exaggerating, Hasan. You are such an exaggerator. God, you're such an exaggerator, bro. Man, that would never happen here, dude. Come on. That's crazy. When cruelty is the purpose for your legislation, there is no end to how cruel you can get. The sky is the limit. That's why this is some terrifying ass shit right here.